Alright, let's do it.
The amount of stuff you can get away with if you're attractive is literally so insane, and everyone talks about women pretty privilege, but no one ever talks about guy pretty privilege.
I completely disagree. I think there's like a definite imbalance. There's plenty of guys who are like, oh shit, big handsome man, I wonder how many bitches he fucks. Yeah, I don't know. I think it goes both ways, absolutely.
Appreciate it when women understand the different ways that they treat different types of men. Guy pretty privilege is another word for hypergamy. So first of all, I'd like to thank her for noticing. And second of all, I have a few stories for you to try to encourage you to maybe move up a few notches if possible. But first...
Isn't hypergamy just something that is as a result of like evolution? With having quote-unquote good attractive genes means that you were more likely to like breed with more females, just generally speaking amongst the animal kingdom. That's kind of how it works, even with like animals that are like completely monogamous. Yeah. Societal conditioning? Yeah, you could say that too. Yeah, true. Oh my god, he's such a boss. He's hot, therefore he must frick a lot of bitches.
Listen to how she understands. It's therapeutic.
I think if the unattractive guys tried to do the things that attractive guys did to girls, they would be called out for harassment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I choked on my own spit. I'm like, damn, you just realized this? Good for you, girl.
This girl from an old video said, don't catcall me unless you're attractive. And then she said it was a joke, which means it's kind of true.
But if
if it's a joke. Convenient backpedaling.
an attractive guy did what unattractive guys did, it would be considered cute.
This is where my stories come in. I did some not very cute things that went over just fine.
I feel like attractive guys have kind of like a act like an asshole card that they could use whenever they want because they have a pretty face, and they have unlimited ways on how to hit on women without being a creep.
Yeah, you can.
There was a guy in a guild that I was in that was like passing around and sharing pictures of himself in Vent, and he had like a gaggle of women that would protect him when he was being weird to like a girl in the video game that I played on World of Warcraft, like in public. He would like harass girls on the daily and be like, you should join my harem of like women, and like try to groom them and shit. It was so weird. At one point, he found out that one of the girls lives in Australia, and he said, do you want to like fly over and like, you know, meet up? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. And then I did not hear from her again. She quit the guild afterwards. Apparently, whatever happened, he was probably really weird. Again, I can't name names, obviously, but I think some people know what I'm talking about. Has probably happened to like other women or men that have seen it happen to girls. They basically meet with a guy, realize that they're uber weird because they're attractive and can get away with a lot. Same with women. And then they were like, oh shit, I gotta leave. And then they get traumatized. Was that during Wrath? No, it was like during Cat or Mop. I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Say quite a wide range of things, and it will be okay, but only as long as she feels like this about you. This is a drawing of me when I was at my most attractive, and a relationship that I had during that time where I did nothing and she did more than she should have.
Yeah, and all those women were all like super attracted to him, and because he was like quote unquote conventionally attractive, like, you know, most guys that play a WoW, they just kind of don't give a fuck and they usually just want to play their game. That guy, I'm pretty sure his full-time actual job was looking attractive and appearing attractive on World of Warcraft so that he could have a gaggle of women around him at all times in the guild. It was crazy. Like, he'd hop into Vent and start yapping about, like, innocuous bullshit happening on the server and be like, all right, ladies, do you want to do a dungeon? They're like, oh my god, yes! Yeah, this isn't like Ventrilo or Skype. I can't remember.
This is a timeline of that relationship. I had a crush on this girl when I was 11, and she pretty much ignored me until after college when I lost weight and got in shape. And she sent me a suggestive message on Facebook where she saw my pictures, and we began a certain kind of relationship. And eventually, she let me know that she had been cheating on a different guy with me.
Oh, that's gross. Oh.
And I said, well, that's a bad idea. You should probably either have a boyfriend or have fun, and you should pick one. And so she did. She got rid of him and said, now we can be together. And I said,
And then he said, nope.
well, that's not part of the deal. This guy's just going to be me later. And she said, oh, darn, and continued seeing me anyway. And also, I had no money and she had money, so she paid for everything while I continued to see other girls on.
Honestly, kind of played. Honestly, played.
Aside. That's how much difference this can make. If you can cross this line, you're going to experience quite a big power differential.
Unattractive guys have to be more slow about it. They have to be more nonchalant and sneaky about hitting on a girl.
Sneaky, okay. We used to call that getting to know someone. When you're...
Oh my god. The reason I keep referencing the guild guy with the gaggle of women, like his little harem, he would constantly reach out to girls, including myself and a couple of other girls that I knew from different guilds. He found out that I was underage, and he kind of backed off, and like he felt out the word. He's just like, oh man, I'm just like, you're just like, you should join my guild. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stay in my own guild and like do my own thing. Thanks. I don't really care. I don't give a fuck about you. And he's like, I don't know, man. You know, it's just like a really nice, tight community over here. And I'm like, I don't want to join, thanks. And then a friend of a friend joined that guild and told me all these stories about like the guy and his harem and how they like have like basically it's like a religious like cult thing. Oh my god, it was crazy the things I heard.
Familiar with somebody, it becomes easier to create that bond. And maybe you as an individual can work your way out of it, but you can't have everyone works their way out of it. Because if they did, and everybody became more attractive, women would just reevaluate this into
the average, the bell curve goes up. Correct.
another one of these. There would be 80% of the guys who made it would be reevaluated into the didn't.
The women are the teachers and the men are the students that they get readjusted. The scale is tipping. No. Now if you're a 7, you're actually not a 7, you're a 5.
Make it zone. And those guys have no choice. They have to get familiar with women first. Otherwise, they just get completely left out. And that's why the world is looking more and more like this. People don't get to know each other anymore. And if you try, women will call it sneaky. That's the one thing she said that I didn't like.
They also can't be arrogant and rude, where a lot of attractive guys get away with being rude.
That's me.
Yeah, women, I've seen it plenty of times. Girls who are, when I was a teenager and I hadn't like properly hit puberty yet, and there was a bunch of girls that hit puberty and started like, you know, waxing their legs and like putting on makeup. And I came home to my parents and I was like, man, it feels like all the boys are like, you know, into girls that are, you know, ahead of me and they wear makeup and they talk about shaving their legs and shit. And my mom's like, what the fuck? Like, did they actually do that? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, what is wrong with these? Like, they tried to like get ahead of the curve to like get with guys, and these girls appear attractive, and the guys are like, oh my gosh, she's so mature for like a teenager who just hit puberty, and you're just like, what the fuck? Let kids be kids. I was like, I don't know, I was like 12, 13, maybe 14.
I used to be rude. I was so bitter after I found out the difference between how people treat you when you move from here to here that I actually made a game out of what is the rudest thing that I can say to
Oh
someone who I
no.
know already likes me before she doesn't like me anymore? And I never found it. I wrote a few of them.
No. He never found it. Oh my god. This is why men serial killers are considered super charming and then they strike out of nowhere. Yeah, I just didn't know what was gonna happen. He just kind of turned crazy. I didn't know that.
Down, but I don't feel safe showing you. I played other games too. I once met a girl on the computer. I went to her place 3 times without ever telling her my name. And then on my way out the door the 3rd time I said, "Are you gonna ever ask me my name or what?" And she said, "I didn't want to offend you." Like I was.
No. Look, this is bro's a piece of meat. No, she's freaking stupid. Dude, women's brains turn the frick off, man. What if he's a serial killer and he, like, does something to you and then you have to report and it's like, oh yeah, I just didn't grab his name. That is crazy work.
Gonna say, "Whoa, you're moving a little fast, aren't we?" No, I'm not encouraging any of this behavior. This is degenerate. The only reason I did it is because I was bitter, because I couldn't be liked without being likable. I didn't want to put in the work to get out of this area, and when I finally did, I still felt like this on the inside, and I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, now it's my turn to do this to someone else." And that
Which is wrong. I mean, again, I think that this is obviously anecdotal. I think this is funny in hindsight, but it is very true.
that's not what we need more of. That kind of stuff
Yeah.
just goes back into the dating pool and makes everybody more miserable and harder to deal with.
Now, the difference between an attractive guy and an attractive girl is like so different. And
No, it's not. It's just both sides of the same coin, man.
attractive girl, sometimes like they don't get guys. They get rejected because people get jealous of them or they're really intimidated or they're jealous. And it's just really hard to be an attractive girl. But for an attractive
Jealous women, men have way more camaraderie just in general. Just coming from a woman, I know that, like, in the playground when I was a kid and, you know, like, just in recesses, I feel like even if you're an attractive guy and you hang out with, like, unattractive men, or like you're not, like, really looking down on them, at least from what I understand, if you're friends and suddenly your friend hits puberty, you don't get jealous. I actually have an anecdotal story. There was a girl that I was really, really good friends with, and she like, oh my god, never mind. I don't know if I want to tell this, but let's just say she kind of matured faster than I did, and some things happened, and I was kind of surprised. And she was in a different school. We were friends from, like, primary school, and she basically dismissed me because I wasn't mature enough for her, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm 13, and I stopped being friends with her. She stopped being my best friend as a result, and I just went back to doing whatever I did. And I found out that she was, like, hanging out at the mall and, like, talking to her friends and talking about how I'm not a good friend for leaving her. And I'm like, I didn't leave you. First of all, you kind of bummed me out. And I feel like when you grow up as two friends as men, I don't think that's, like, an issue because you're not really competing with each other, or there's not, like, an inherent jealousy or emotion to being a girl. She was pregnant at 18. No, there was, like, a bunch of other drama, but, like, it was in that vein. It was in that same vein as you're thinking, but, like, it was just really... When I found out, I was, like, flabbergasted.
guy literally
Yeah.
is like living on the red carpet with silver platters of opportunities handed to you constantly.
Well, not job opportunities. This was roughly my attractive era from here to here, and this was my net worth. and then I had nothing, and now I have internet money. But yeah, she's not wrong.
Money.
This is an easier position in the market than this. It's easier to get what you want. Now, I wish we could get away from this app style of dating and back to the classics, but I don't know how we're gonna do that. This might even get worse.
I don't think we're gonna go back to it unless society completely changes, which is, I kind of doubt it. I genuinely have little to no faith. maybe I'm like just a pessimist. Maybe there's some optimism in chat regarding this, but I think online dating genuinely ruined people. People are not gonna stop looking at it themselves like a piece of meat just because we turned off social media. It'll be ingrained like that for a while. Yeah, technology would have been shunned altogether, but it's not gonna happen.
At least people are starting to get it. But for now, if you are not working on yourself, you are potentially giving up a lot of power. Just don't misuse it when you get it, or you'll eventually turn into me, but without the internet money.
No, I think that home math is right though, like for real. It's crazy what's going on with the dating scene with the women and the men. Chat, check them out. Whole math, very smart. Insightful, as we would say. They faded him for he was correct. I think he has a very bleak outlook, but I don't think he's wrong. That's the sad part.
Fire, fire, fire.